Hello everyone. Welcome to my session. Good afternoon, and I wasn't expecting this much turnout. Thank you very much for coming. This is a session on Databricks Workflows. This talks about more recent features and 5 things probably you didn't know you could do with Databricks Workflows. So when I say 5 things, it's not exactly 5 things. Actually, I have a bonus too, so hopefully that will help some more knowledge sharing. I'm Prashant Babu. I'm a product specialist based out of EMEA, working at Databricks. A brief about me. I've been in a data engineer since last 13, 14 years now, and out of which last 5 years I've been at Databricks working out of London office with multiple enterprises. That's a pretty brief about me. So I'll quickly jump into what this talk is for and whom are we targeting. We're targeting all the personas, data engineers, data scientists, machine learning engineers, as well as data analysts, and also their colleagues in operations. I mean, when I say DevOps folks are most crucial people when you're productionizing the workflows and running the jobs in production. This talk is more catered towards teams and organizations deploying workloads to production at a very scale. As a first step, I would like you to scan this QR code. You should get a page. I mean, let me show you. Sorry. Scan the QR code, then I will show what it comes. Please launch the page on your browser. And yeah, let me wait for a second more, maybe. Yeah. So it should launch a page like this. Please key in your name, or if you're not comfortable, just leave it as is, like a pseudonym is fine. Then click on, I mean, you can generate a new name also if you're not comfortable with that name also. And then click on enter the lakehouse. Like in my case, let me say, Let me say, yeah. And I'm entering the lakehouse. So here is where things get interesting. Like, these are all Databricks product lines. Now, if you're interested in one or more of them, please select them. In my case, I'm selecting data layer tables because I'm a data engineer, and serverless warehouse, again, for the same reason. Submitting your choice, you should get a page like this, which talks about the event has been submitted. The event which you have selected has been submitted to Databricks Workflows. So once enough people submit the page, we should get, this is the Databricks SQL dashboard. Sorry. I didn't realize it stopped. So let's wait for the refresh to complete. In the meantime, let the data flow through. Probably I'll come back in a minute to see the dashboard once the SQL warehouse is up and running. So this is in the back end, this is the entire architecture. Like when you click on the page, which is the phone image right at the top, there is a REST API which is pushing all the events to a message queue, which is Kafka in this case, and from there, DLT is picking the events, and then a machine learning model is trying to filter out spam, etc., and finally creating some inferences. The final data is going into a DB SQL dashboard. So this is the complete architecture of what we saw just now. Hopefully the page is up. Yeah. So we saw around 210 people actually submitted on the page, and we see a lot of users, a lot of people. Like, if I can zoom in a bit, maybe I can see my own name, which was P7H. Maybe it is too small. Yeah. So this is how, I mean, if you get the gist of it, like in real time, people are submitting, and the events are processed in real time again, using DLT workflows and DB SQL and also MLflow. All the events are passing through, and finally we have a proper pie chart also with 28% of the people choosing delta layer tables, obviously, yeah. So, and there is time from ingestion to AI to insight is just around 0.5 seconds. So that's as fast as possible you can see. And this is all behind the scenes lakehouse architecture, which is doing most of the things here, and workflows playing a major part. So that's a brief demo. It's not actually part of the demo, but still. So this is my talk, right? I'm starting with the talk right now. So this is a pretty loaded statement. Modern data engineering requires modern data orchestration. And now what I mean with that is, I mean, there are complex workflows, and multiple data sources, multiple use cases, multiple data stage flows, and there are multiple dependencies. Like a single task could have multiple child tasks. For example, in this case, you can see any of the tasks, like in the second box or the third box, there are too many tasks there, and there are too many dependencies. Now, look at it from a point of orchestration. It's very difficult and complex to manage and maintain as well. And also, if you look at the downstream use cases, there is ETL, machine learning, there is BI, there is streaming, real-time streaming. So all these causes a lot of problems and a lot of complexities to any pipeline, any workflow. So at the same time, there are many, many ways of orchestrating lakehouse workloads. For example, a couple of examples like open source Airflow, and also managed services like ADF, for example, and also Astronomer, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of orchestration possibilities are there, and they all push the data, process the data, and also do the machine learning, et cetera, et cetera. All this is orchestrated to the lakehouse by all these frameworks, orchestration frameworks. So, but at the same time, there are problems with this approach. All these external orchestrators create a lot of challenges. When I say a lot of challenges, there's a learning curve, that's one. And there is a problem with maintenance. When I say maintenance, not just regular day-to-day ops, but also on top of that, there is a problem with versions, managing versions, upgrading versions, and so on and so forth. And also, maybe single point of failure. I mean, not taking any single example, but single point of failure. And if you're choosing managed services, again, you have to pay them, one of them, like any of the managed services. And most important here being, these tools are not unified with your lakehouse. What I mean with that statement is, it so happens that, I mean, take an example of Airflow, for example. You trigger a pipeline there. You run the pipeline. You see the error message. I mean, the pipeline fails for whatever reason. You have to come back and forth between Airflow and Databricks to see what is the problem, how to fix the problem. That's where we have something, Databricks Workflows, and it's been there since some time now. It is basically, it allows three main goals. One is simple authoring, like it's very simple. I will show you the UI in a few minutes. It has UI, it has CLI, it has REST API, it also has Terraform. So it starts from simple authoring to very, very complex authoring as well. And you can do a lot of things with so much of flexibility. Actionable insights, again, within the UI, you can do a lot more things similar to REST API as well. And proven reliability, we have been running at least 10 plus million VMs each day. So that shows we are reliable, and lots of workflows are doing lots of jobs for the industry. So usually, all such sessions start with basic features and then go with a bonus. We are just flipping it. I will be doing a bonus thing first and then jumping to the actual session, actual features. So for now, I'll just show how to create a workflow. So I mean, if you're not well versed with Databricks Workflows, this is how Databricks Workflows looks like. Now, the moment you land into Databricks homepage, landing page, you have workflows at the left-hand column, and click on job. So here I will select something called as classic workflows. And I have multiple options, like I can choose any task type, notebook, Python script, Python wheel, SQL. I mean, we'll talk about couple of these task types in the due course as well. But still, DBT also you can orchestrate from Databricks Workflows, jar, Spark submit, sorry, run job, if else condition, so on and so forth. There are so many task types we can support. For this example, I'll be showcasing notebook, and notebooks could be R, SQL, and R, SQL, Scala, and Python. These are the 4 different types of notebooks which Databricks supports. Just jumping onto the notebooks, I will be starting a simple demo with Classic, a simple notebook, and then I will be choosing in a cluster, a job cluster for that matter. And we also could select, we also could add some dependent libraries, some parameters if the notebook has some widgets and parameters expecting, we can pass them right here. So that will be available to the notebook, and you can change and modify, customize, configure. We can also specify the notifications to whom these emails should be sent, on start, on failure, and duration warning, etc. And also number of retries. You can configure the number of retries as well here. And finally, duration threshold is something which is very new. I'll be talking about that in a specific topic down the line. So we'll just jump into the create. Once I create the task, now this is where things get a bit interesting here, a lot more interesting rather. This is a single task. A job has a single task now. I can add more than one task, for example, to make it a DAG. So this is where I will start with, say, transform as second task. And similarly, again, I'm choosing a notebook type, and source as workspace, and then notebook is, I do have a notebook, so let me select that notebook, transform. I'm done. So now here is where we are going to reuse the existing cluster. So if you see, let me go to the job cluster and change it. So this is the job cluster, and I will say classic workflows as the name of the cluster name. So you can see both the jobs, both the tasks, the load classic as well as transform, are using a single cluster by name classic workflow. So essentially, you're starting a cluster, and then first task will run on that cluster, and the cluster is reused for the second task as well. So that's how you're going to, it is going to help for cluster reuse, and you don't need to wait for, say, 4 minutes, 5 minutes for the cluster to start up. So these are the advantages of Databricks Workflows right out of the box. Like, these are all available. And this is how you just click on run now, and this will trigger it. Oh, sorry, I didn't click on select. So I will click on run and let the run start. Thankfully, it skipped. Yeah. So let this job run, and in the meantime, I'll go back to my slides. So that bonus thing is, we are still talking about this feature. So we just saw the page where there are way too many options, way too many settings you need to configure. One, the cluster name is one of them. That's just one. And later on, you need to select DBR, the VM type, the number of VMs, if you need Photon or not. I mean, you see all these options here, right here. You need Photon or not, the worker type, the driver type, and so on and so forth. This is how the classic clusters page looks like. Now we have a new feature which Bilal already discussed in the morning called Serverless Workflows. And this is what Serverless Workflows clusters page looks like. You don't need to select a VM type. You don't need to select number of VMs. You don't need to select anything, in fact, even Photon. So everything is bundled into the serverless clusters. And the only thing we need to select is one option, that is execution goal. It is either as fast as possible or cost optimized. So that's the only option you need to select. Now, let me walk you through what's happening here. So in the serverless setup, there are multiple advantages. The first one being high efficiency. There is no idle time. I mean, you're not paying for any node which is just sitting there not doing any work. Like if you select, say, 100 node cluster and only 50 nodes are being used, for example, in the classic workflows, that won't be the case in serverless workflows, because when there is no need for VMs, Databricks automatically deprovisions them. They push us back to the worm pool. And it is auto-optimized for cost. And it is very simple, like we just saw, it's just one single button, one single option we need to select. And reliability, I mean, assume you selected i3.xlarge, for example, for your pipeline on AWS. And for whatever reason, in that region, on that particular day, the VMs are not available. That wouldn't be the case for serverless workflows, because Databricks would have the worm pool ready, up and running, and you would have all the VMs available. If it was classic workflows, it would be a different ballgame altogether. There will be a lot of problems with that. Elasticity. Because the VMs are coming from a worm pool, so the VM, whenever there is a need for scaling up, it will be super fast scaling up. And whenever there is no need for the VMs, the VMs will be moved back to the worm pool again. So that's about serverless workflows. I'll quickly show a simple demo for that as well. So let's see what happened with this classic workflows job. It's still running. It's still pending, not even running. So it's still waiting for the VMs from the cloud provider. I'm starting with a serverless workflow now. I will show you how simple, and there is nothing there actually. I mean, you just need to select load serverless. Exactly the same notebooks I'm going to select. Just the name is different, but notebook is exactly the same. Serverless, confirm. And here, let me change the name so that I can reuse in the serverless. Sure. The rest of all the options still stay the same. Like you can specify parameters, dependent libraries, and so on and so forth. Yeah. It's the same as the previous page. It's just that the execution goal is going to be is almost ready. It will come. Right here in the drop-down, you have the option serverless only or any of them. Yeah. So you click on create, and then notebook. I am doing exactly the same as what I did before, transform, and select another notebook and quickly start the demo. Serverless transform. Yeah. So this is where I'm done with this task, except for a typo. Yeah. And now I'm ready for running this pipeline. So essentially, I'm quickly done. So I am triggering this pipeline. So we'll see how long it takes. Classic workflows. It's still running. So hopefully, it got the cluster already. So it's still running. So we'll wait for the cluster to start up. In the meantime, I will continue with the next topic. So this is the bonus thing which I wanted to discuss. Now I already showed a bit of serverless workflows and classic workflows and a brief demo. We'll go back in a minute to see what happened with the run. But in the meantime, I will continue with the next topics so that we save some time. So assume a scenario where I have a big DAG, and that DAG is like, again, medallion architecture. Consider a medallion architecture where there is bronze, silver, and gold, a series of tasks, and one task in between failed. Assume that way. I mean, pipelines fail every day. And I want to fix only that task. I mean, I want to fix that task, and I want to trigger the pipeline from that task only. I don't want to run tasks which have been successful before. Now, there are multiple reasons for that. One, state. I mean, the previous task, when they ran already, there's no point in rerunning them because of the state has been modified. That's one. And two, time and money. I mean, if you're going to rerun the same job again and again, it's going to cause the downstream SLAs will go for a toss, that's one, and also it will be expensive also. So my essential goal is like, I would like to repair my failed task and run it, and also all the downstream tasks of this failed task. So this is where repair and rerun feature of Databricks Workflows helps. Assume a scenario where one of the tasks failed, like task 2 in this case, which is silver. It failed. Now I want to go to the Databricks UI and quickly fix it. So let me go to the demo again and show that. Yeah. OK, it took 6 minutes. The classic workflows took 6 minutes and 1 second. Serverless workflows completed in 1.5 minutes. So essentially, almost less than 1/4. So serverless workflows has a bigger advantage compared to classic workflows, is what I'm trying to say. Repair and rerun. So this is a scenario where I was talking about a complete medallion architecture demo, where I have a series of tasks. Bronze layer, there are 2 sales and purchase orders events I am getting from my partners. And I would like to process them as bronze, silver, and gold, as same as usual case. Now I would like to run this pipeline and ensure everything is fine. But before that, I would like to inject a simple bug. I mean, that's always the case. So I am injecting a bug as like, in this case, it is a bug with a semicolon. I mean, incorrect syntax. But in general, it might be a case with any reason why your pipeline might fail, with Spark or without Spark. So with that said, I will kickstart the job. I injected a simple bug. Now this pipeline should fail. When I say this pipeline should fail, the pipeline with the tasks of silver promotions orders should fail. And then we will be able to showcase how simple it is to trigger the pipeline with repair and rerun. Like the moment the task fails, you will be able to see a new item in the UI when the job fails. So I will just go here. So this is the UI. And when a task is running, you'll see some icon like this and the visualization like this. And at the same time, the tasks which are not running have a blurred out kind of a vision. So you can see the job already failed. And when it failed, you can go to the run and see why it failed. OK, it's still running, sorry. OK, my eyes, yeah. Yeah, it failed for the same syntax error. Now, this is where you can just quickly go and fix the error. In this case, we know the error. We injected the error. Now, I did this, fixed it. Now, I will go back to my job, which is the run. And you can see a repair run, which appeared right at the top. I click on repair run. It tells me it's going to repair the task which failed and also run the downstream tasks as well. So this is how you will do repair and rerun. This is also available through UI as well as API. When I say API, I mean REST API for that matter. So by just going and triggering the pipeline, it started with the silver task only. On top of that, it is also showing how many attempts did it take. Like in this case, it is second attempt is what it is showing. The previous tasks which were successful, they do not have any second attempt like that. And now our job is successful. So essentially, we were able to run the job fine. So this is how you can simply run do a repair and rerun as simple as possible here with the UI. Then I'm just jumping on to the next topic. So there are ways and means where I have challenges with my jobs which are running like a clockwork in production. And sometimes if a job which usually used to run for 5 hours, it is running for 10 hours. But I don't even know why it is running or how it is running or for whatever reasons. I would like to be notified for all such issues. When I say notified, one, for the cost, and two, most importantly, for the downstream SLAs. Like there is a medallion architecture. Assume silver pipeline is taking a long time. But that will have an impact on gold, and also the downstream, probably Power BI dashboards being refreshed. Everything is going to take a lot of time, and all the SLAs will go for a toss, and most importantly, the cost. So whenever such things happen, I would like to be notified of success or failure of the jobs, and also why, and also the threshold, etc. I would like to know all that. So there is a new feature called late jobs, where you can specify a soft timeout. I mean, when I say soft timeout, what I mean with that is you can specify it on the task level or on the complete job level. Now, this task timeout could be of two types. One is on the warning, which says your job is still running. For example, in this case, I specified it as 10 minutes. The warning is for 10 minutes, and threshold timeout is for 15 minutes. So if my job is running, if I'm expecting my job to complete in 5 minutes, assume 5 minutes, but it is running even after 10 minutes, assuming that there is a problem, I need to go fix it. Or I need to at least look at the pipeline, why the pipeline is taking more than the regular stipulated time. That's one. And second one, if the pipeline is still running after 15 minutes, that implies there is a big problem. I want the job to be terminated. So these are the things which late jobs can do directly for the job. Now, there is another thing. I mean, one, emails is fine. Two, I also want to configure and trigger destinations, like, for example, Slack. So you could do that directly in the product right now, where you can select destination and create any destination. So again, quickly jumping into a demo. Okay, late jobs and webhooks. So this is a pipeline which I configured, and I have a Slack application here. And I already configured webhook. So I will delete the webhook. I'm showing you live all this. And then go back to the application and notifications. Yeah, I deleted Slack application there. So I deleted this webhook. And I will also delete this. So basically, I don't have any notifications right now. Now I'm going to add notifications. One, email. That's my own email. So I want on start, on success, and duration warning. And I also want to set up a notification destination. So this is where I need to set up, for example, I will just, so because we deleted the notification, there is the webhook, there is nothing here. So I will delete this. Now I will add a new destination. So this is where I'm selecting Slack as the option. In this case, demos. Slack webhook URL, I need to go here and create a new webhook. Before that, I need to create the channel. So I am creating a channel, a brand new channel here, Workflows demo. So this is a new channel which I just created now, and I'm not adding anyone to that, but still I should be adding a webhook. This should trigger, yeah, I already see this. I want this to be added, and then I get a URL, which I need to copy and push it here. So we are done with webhook creation. So that's done. And we need to come back here and this one. So I need, again, thread, email, start, everything. I just want this. So on top of all this, as we were discussing, there is an option to select duration threshold, both for the timeout as well as warning. I selected 10 seconds and 15 seconds here for the reason of brevity and for demoing. But essentially, this is on the task level. And there is some similar setting on job run also. So essentially, you can do the threshold timeouts and warning, both on individual task and also on the complete job. What it helps is, like, if you know each individual task is going to take X minutes, but if it is taking more than that, but your final job is completing within the time, that implies there is a problem with some other task. So we need to understand why or how, all those things. I mean, for that specific reason, it would be always helpful to configure both job level as well as task level. So that said, I will quick start this to run. It should fail, as you can imagine, because no job will complete in 10 seconds, logically speaking. When let it run, yeah, okay, I should have shown this, yeah. The moment I triggered the run, a run has started. I already got a Slack message on my channel, and a run has failed also, I got a message. On top of this, I configured my mail, so I should be getting an email as well. Not a email, but a lot of emails, because I selected a lot of things like subscribe, started, duration failed, and everything. So basically, for any production critical jobs, you should always have webhooks, either through email, probably a DevOps group email, for example, and also to Slack, if at all, if there is PagerDuty and other things. So this is for late jobs. Now let me jump into one simple thing now. So late jobs demo is done. We have, I mean, the next item is something which will resonate with most of the people here. Like, we started with a very simple workflow, but over time, business kept on adding lot of requirements. So the moment with that in picture, my workflow became too big, too unmanageable probably, and it is very difficult to comprehend and manage and maintain also. So I would like to refactor my workflow with a simple modular approach, and also it should be helpful for reusability. So this is where a new feature called jobs/task is going to be helpful. So what we saw before was we had task and we had one more task. So that's how it is, a workflow is defined. That now, instead of assume a job is a task, that's what we are doing here. So when you have a job already running, you can define that as a task and simply attach it to one of the other jobs. So which is what we are doing. So a simple job, if it is complex, could be broken down into more than two or more jobs, sorry. So just in the case, this is how you can select. I mean, in the task tab, we saw a lot of number of options. Run job is one of the options also. I will go to the demo of this feature also, combining with this feature so that I can save some time. I want to orchestrate my BI task from workflows. So how would you do that? Again, similar use case. My BI analysts are having a simple dashboard, a complex dashboard for that matter. And all these are based on my pipelines, my data engineering team's pipelines, which is again based on medallion architecture. And the tables which are built by data analysts have a dependency on my medallion architecture tables. I would like all these data analyst dashboards to be refreshed the moment my medallion architecture pipeline completes. So which is what I would like, and that could be possible with Databricks Workflows, which can trigger alerts and also run dashboards, refresh dashboards, run SQL queries, etc. So this is how you do it. Like there is a new task type called SQL. Once you select the task type of SQL, you can see the SQL, what kind of dashboard, what kind of query you would like to run. You can select either of them. Now, to showcase all this in one single demo, yeah. So I will quickly jump to DB-SQL Workflows. So this is DB-SQL Workflows. As I said before, this is medallion architecture job. I selected run job. The moment you select run job, Databricks shows all the tasks which are jobs, all the jobs. So in this case, I'm selecting 5 medallion architecture sales insights. That is a complete job on its own. Like when I click on that, you will be able to see the DAG. So this is the complete, this is the complete DAG where you can see it is a full-fledged job on its own. On top of that, we are going to add that to a task in another job, which is what we are doing here. And as a downstream dependency is a DB-SQL dashboard. Now what we are doing is combining the two features which I just discussed. One, a job as a task, 2, a dashboard which is attached as a downstream. So this way, I mean, my medallion architecture pipeline is running. At the end of my medallion architecture, it is also triggering a DB-SQL workflow where I am refreshing a complete dashboard. For example, let me click on run now. It should take a bit of time. Historically, it took around 2 minutes, 1.5 minutes. Okay. So this is as simple as this. Like you select a job as a task in the job. I mean, the moment you select the task here, task type as run job here, you would be able to find. You will be able to get the jobs, all the jobs which are listed. Like all these jobs are, as you might have seen just now. These are all the jobs which are defined in the page right now. So it's as simple as this. Like everything is configurable through UI. And same thing with API also, for that matter. So that's about that, and I just have one more demo, so let me go through that. I want to orchestrate DBT projects from Databricks Workflows. I mean, DBT and Databricks Workflows work very well together. The first and foremost, you can orchestrate a DBT models directly from Databricks Workflows, and it is by default Photon enabled. To quickly show what it is, I have a simple code. I mean, simple DBT models. This is a model which is open on GitHub right now. So this is my DBT models, and I have a project called DIS demos. That's my project name, and this is the URL for that. So what I am going to do with this is, I will just go here and configure my job to DBT orchestration. So what I do here is, I created a task by name DBT orchestration, and the task type I chose is DBT. The moment you choose that, there is a source which comes up. Now this is where I specify the GitHub URL which I just copied. Now I need to specify the branch name. In this case, it is simple main. And as I was saying, there is a project by name demos. I mean, I need to configure the project name. Probably I can just, yeah. So these are the DBT commands which Databricks automatically pulled up by looking at the project on GitHub. The moment it is done, I can specify a SQL warehouse on which the project which I was showing, the model should run on. And a couple of other things, like I want the model to put all the data into a database called my name, so just to showcase. And that's all. You don't need to do anything else. This job should run. Yeah, it was around one plus minute, so we should be good, I guess. I ran at a breakneck speed, and so I have one more demo to show. Yeah. So this is yet another bonus thing which I wanted to show. I'll just jump into the use case directly. So my marketing team receives data about sales conversions every day, multiple times from multiple partners. All these are in the same CSV file, which is not possible usually, but still, I'm going with that statement. I need to trigger a workflow, complete workflow, again with a Medallion architecture, and finally display a dashboard, refresh a dashboard. The requirement is like these files land so irregularly, and it makes it very inefficient to either trigger a job on a fixed time basis, like every hour or something, because I want the job to refresh as soon as possible. And it's expensive to run a continuous job. So there should be other way around. The other way around is like continuously keep polling the location where the files are landing and have your own mechanism either through one of the managed services or probably write your own custom solution. That like everything is either it will come with some cost, or you might have to have an overhead of maintaining it. Now this is where we have something called as file arrival triggers, where you specify a bucket location, can be AWS, can be Azure. You specify some location, and you specify what is the minimum time in between triggers, like in seconds. What I mean in between time is like if my job started at say 3:30 p.m., when a file lands at 3:30 p.m., I do not want any pipeline to run immediately. That's might be one requirement. The other requirement is I don't want to run frequently. Like I see a file landing at 3:30, I see a file landing at 3:31. I do not want that kind of scenario. So I want to batch a lot of files at one time. In that case, you can specify minimum time triggers in time between triggers in seconds, and wait after last change in seconds is like whenever a file lands, we can wait for some time. That could be configured here again. Now, this is, I promised, the last demo. So this is file arrival triggers, and I have been running, as you can see, a lot of times. I'm generating a random data by using Faker. So this is the location which I configured for putting all the CSV files in this case. I just run step by step. This is Faker generating some random fake data. At the same time, I'm pushing the data to some location. That some location is S3 path. As you can see here, S3 path. I'm pushing the files to using dbtools.fs put. Now, this is the line which is actually generating the data, utilizing the Faker code which I was just showing. This should create a file, and to show you that it indeed created just now, you can see 16:07. So exactly at the time, like 16:07:44 here, 35. So I'm actually running the code live. Same time, I will just showcase this as well. So the moment a file lands, you can see the file arrival trigger picked up that entry all of a sudden, immediately. So the job already kick-started, and there is a series of tasks which will automatically trigger from this. The first one, this is the task which already kick-started, and it is already halfway through or almost done. So how you can configure file arrival triggers is you need to change the trigger. So this is where you need to configure. Like, I mean, the task could be same as the task or job could be same as what your normal job is, but you just need to select by default. The trigger would be scheduled. I mean, if you want to schedule it every day, every hour, or whatever is your scheduling interval, you can select file arrival. The moment you select file arrival, you can key in the storage location. In this case, I was generating the data and pushing the data to that location. And minimum time between trigger seconds, I don't want to run the job every minute. So I'm putting that as 120. So let me stop this and stop my streaming code, not to generate anymore. Let me generate a new file immediately. So it should be picked up in the next 2 minutes, logically speaking. So, I mean, if we wait here enough time, we would be able to see a new job which should pick up the file Laravel, and it also shows that the job was triggered with file Laravel as the trigger. So this is, we'll wait. Yeah, it already started. Okay, that's good. So this is how you can, I mean, there might be a lot of scenarios where the files are landing in some location, you would like to utilize them and process them immediately. So you could seamlessly use file Laravel triggers and do a complete pipeline run like this. So those are all my demos. I ran at a brisk pace, sorry for that. Yeah, you can configure file Laravel either through front end, I mean UI, or even through API also. This is the JSON spec for that. So if you want to see, even if you don't have, by any chance, if you don't have Databricks account, you can as well scan the QR code, and you could as well look at it on the fly, right on your screens. That's one way of doing it. Or you can take a look at the demo center where all the demos, various demos are already available. So these are the two ways you can probably showcase or look at the demos which are available. And finally, I mean, I want you to go out of this room taking this as the outcome or the key takeaway of this session. Workflows is the best way to orchestrate the lakehouse. I hope it will resonate well with you. So that's about my talk. Sorry, I went through super fast, and there is no time for questions. But I'm available. If you want to talk to me, please find me, and we can talk. Thank you very much.